Hey friends, Dean here. Before we get you on to your episode, I want to take a moment to invite you to our next virtual online trivia night. Wednesday, May 13th at 8 p.m. Join us either on our Facebook group or on our YouTube page for 3 rounds of fun trivia, music questions, movie questions, general knowledge questions. It'll be a fun time and a chance to win some prizes and have just a good relaxing night of some trivia at home. You don't even have to go out for it. So don't forget, Wednesday, March 13th at 8 p.m. Join us on our Facebook group or YouTube for 3 rounds of fun virtual online trivia. We'll see you there.
We're breaking down episode 4 of the Book of Boba Fett, and I think it can be summed up in one word. Finally. Stay with us.
Get ready for the 3324 podcast, where lifelong friends Dean Legiro and Erik Kuber share their love of all things music and movies. Dean has directed short films and is a music trivia buff, and Erik, trained in audio engineering, brings his extensive knowledge of music and film to the conversation as they discuss, debate, and celebrate their favorite albums, films, and much more.
Welcome, friends, to the 3324 podcast weekly breakdown of the Book of Boba Fett, a 7-episode series from Disney+. You're here with Dean Legiro, along with Erik Kuber.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Yourself, sir?
Quite well. We are, since this is an odd number of episodes, we're over the halfway point.
Yep.
So technically, I guess halfway through this episode, we were halfway done, but we're past the point of no return. We're going to the finish line with it. We can't stop.
We are indeed.
We're in it to win it.
That's
at
right.
This point. Let's just jump right back in. This is episode number 4. The Gathering Storm is the title of the episode, directed by Kevin Tankerowen. He's done a lot, not too much feature film, but a lot of TV work, and he's done Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Iron Fist for Netflix, and he's done a bunch of other stuff as well. So he's no stranger to the episodic genre. Of course, written by Jon Favreau, who has written the whole, looks like he's written the whole kit and caboodle. So let's get into a synopsis of the plot, and we will jump right into this, because I think you know what we're doing and why we're here. So we're going to just go right for it.
Dude, let's do it.
Get into this.
Yep.
So here we go. Episode 4. As Fett plots to retrieve his fire spray gunship, he returns the favor of the Tuskens and saves Fennec Shan's life. With the help of his newfound ally, Fett infiltrates Bib Fortuna's palace and gets his ship back. With his ship free, Fett violently settles the score for the Tusken massacre and begins the search for his missing armor. Emerging from his back-to-tank, a fully healed Fett goes into town where he witnesses the fury of Krrsantan as he rages against a group of Trandoshans. Fett then approaches Krrsantan with an offer. A meeting between Fett and the Tatooine crime families gains Fett no support for the war with the Pikes that is on the horizon. An army is needed. That's it in a nutshell.
Pretty much.
All right, we will see you for episode 5 next week.
Is that it?
There we go. We did it.
Okay.
Actually, I think there's probably finally a lot to unpack in this episode.
Yeah.
Like I said in the open, for me, it was one word. It was finally.
Yeah.
Questions that I've had, I think that a lot of viewers have been answered more than halfway through the series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You almost feel like this episode could have kicked everything off. Right?
I said that to a friend of ours in our Facebook group, asked about it, a friend of the show, Dwight. Actually, he messaged me on Facebook and he said, "What did you think?" I said, "This should have been episode 1.
Yeah.
In some form or another.
Right. Yeah.
You know, obviously they would have to do some maneuvering, but this could have easily, for the most part, most of this could have been episode 1, and it would have set the table, and it would have, I think, put a lot more people at ease or understood what was going to happen next, instead of having 3 episodes of what is going on and then get the explanation. Mainly, and let me know if you feel the same way. A couple of things. They addressed the amount of time that Fett was gone in between leaving the Sarlacc pit and coming to the present time.
Yeah, there was a length of time.
He said years. He said I spent many years. So that explains kind of unanswered questions of the previous episodes, right? How long was this going on? How long was he with the Tuskens?
That's right.
I
mean, the thing of it, I guess the cool thing is that everything's sort of converging now. Everything's sort of blending together. So now we're kind of caught up in a sense where, they do relive that scene from the Mandalorian episode where he walks up and and saves her life.
I guess it explains
No.
his affinity for the mods, because he brings Fennec into the mod shop, which is kind of like a tattoo pause, like, no walk-ins, which is like what you hear in a tattoo pot, like you got to make an appointment. And so that, I mean, again, it love the mods or hate the mods, it ties it together.
Yeah, it does.
No matter how you feel about it, it kind of like, okay, he visited one of these shops early on to save her. All we knew back then was she had robot parts.
Right. And how did that happen? And what happened there? So yeah, they pretty much, it's neatly done. I'll say that much of it, and that's we'll get to that in a minute, I guess, when we
get
cover
to it
our
now.
hits and misses. So yeah, let's do it.
Oh, okay. If it's in your hits and misses, we'll save it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of finally explaining stuff, and I think getting people to, at least the viewer, for me, I just felt a lot more satisfied with this episode. I was always feeling like I was like missing something. I felt like I don't have information that I think I'm supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
And we had said that, like, why is Fett doing this? And I wanted to hear him say it.
It's definitely a slow burn. And I think it's asking a lot of the viewer, especially, Star Wars fans who want everything now, you know what I mean? Like all these Easter eggs and stuff. It's fun to look for that kind of stuff. And I feel like that's all people have been doing to just to keep themselves engaged with it.
Yeah.
Up to this point. But now we have an episode
callbacks.
where, but it does require a little bit of patience. And yes, this is a very specific story. So it's not, like we said before, it's not the episodic feel of Mando. So
yeah,
I agree. I feel a lot better with this episode. I'm back into it. I'm looking forward to the last three. Apparently, like we talked about before, the last three, this is going to blow your mind. So let's hope. Right. Let's hope so.
My mind is ready. The fuse is lit, and it's waiting to be blown. Like, I hope that's not just kind of bluster and talk. Like, I'd rather them play it low key and blow me away.
Yeah, I'm not.
Then tell me I'm going to be blown away, because then you're setting expectations high.
I don't want to try to set those expectations too high. That's right. Yeah,
because we're just starting to kind of come out of 3 episodes of kind of, all right, what's going on. And I guess the good thing or one thing is that in the episode when Fett comes out of the Bacta tank, the droid's like, you're fully healed.
Yeah. So this could,
which says to me that that's it for flashbacks.
That's right. Yeah. That's whatever. I think that's what a lot of people are thinking.
Unless something happens and he goes back, he gets roughed up again. But and they explained that as well. I mean, that was the whole thing, is so many unanswered questions that I think they went too long. Like, why was Fett having to go to the tank? We found out because, he sustained those, the poison burns or whatever from the Sarlacc. And then when he went back into the Sarlacc to go get his armor.
Right.
Which,
he endures it again.
I don't know if that was the smartest idea.
Well, obviously it shows you the importance of the armor. And
it was a neat scene. I mean,
it's a cool scene, but it's like it also, and then I had to go back and I'm like, oh, well, that's right. He got knocked out by the Jawas and they stripped him of his armor.
Yeah, they stripped him. So he didn't know.
He forgot. He
had no clue where the stuff was. Yeah,
exactly.
Which was kind of, from his point of view, it's like, okay, let me go back to square one. And actually what I did is I just went today and I watched the just the part of the Mandalorian episode where he comes in.
Yeah.
I wanted to start to connect it, because I'm like, okay, this whole flashback thing has kind of been wrapped up. So I'm like, oh, I want to make sure it fits with what happened in the Mandalorian. And he said, I've been tracking you ever since Cobb Vanth. So I guess they're going to stop it here, and then we're going to be able to make that leap of his appearance in the Mandalorian, that he was on the trail of the armor, found out who had it, and tracked him, because he basically said that in the episode.
Yeah, that might be episode 4.5. 4.5, I guess. So
you could watch that. You could watch that and insert it.
They don't need to repeat that, at this point. And if they do,
hope not. I hope they understand.
Right. Exactly.
That we're good to go from here. You've already seen the other part. And that's what I did. I just went back and watched it just to kind of, everything fit. The gaffy stick, the costume. It was kind of all. It's nice that it all
leads you right
in.
up to that moment, which is great when he's riding across.
Except he was wearing the white. He was wearing the white shirt, the white Boba Fett tunic over the black robes, like the original white.
Yeah.
But he discarded that pretty quick.
Yeah.
But there was a lot. Just overall a really strong episode. The Sarlacc attack was pretty good with the fire spray gunship, where it was kind of going really hovering over, and then again, I had a feeling we were going to get one of those jump scares. Well, the jump scare. Where all of a sudden the Sarlacc kind of comes out.
I was joking with my son about it because he hates the special edition version of the Sarlacc with the pistachio with the beak.
With the beak?
Yeah.
The pistachio.
Like he calls it a pistachio shell.
Pistachio face.
And I was like, it looks like they went back to the old G, thing, but then the thing popped out. I was like, oh, okay.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
The beak and and then that Fennec gives the old fire in the hole, and I love the sound of that effect, that like boom,
the seismic charge. Yeah, that
goes. And you see it like underground. You just see like the sand like kind of ripple.
That was one of the best parts about Attack of the Clones was that effect when they were going through the asteroid, and you see see that happen for the first time. So yeah,
that was kind of a neat effect, and showing it underground, and kind of dropped it into the Sarlacc, and just
so now the Sarlacc is no more. I mean, when he says I have a few scores to settle, I didn't realize that the Sarlacc would be.
I didn't think that was. Well, he wasn't really trying to. I mean,
no, he wasn't trying to kill it.
Shand was the one that really went after it. But when you think about it, it's like okay, you may as well go down. And then
that's right.
And then he gets his gunship, and really just. Those that's the stuff we were looking for.
Yep.
Those bikers never knew what was coming, and from behind you just see this little bitty ship, and it gets bigger and bigger, and it just
the look on his face too says everything about the character.
Yeah, and he looked at
determined,
Shand.
like that, determined, like, and like he was
like
really,
I'm doing this.
Yeah, like
And he looked at Shand, and Shand like kind of said, yeah.
So that was the Boba Fett that we were waiting for.
Exactly.
So,
like I said, I think if we got this stuff first, it would have kind of, because there hasn't been a lot of action where Fett has had things happen to him, but he hasn't really done much, except for the first episode he fired the rocket.
Right.
But other than that, he hadn't really been doing too much. So this was nice to see all these pieces coming together.
Yep.
Yeah, the Sarlacc, and then Krrsantan comes back again, just hanging out in the bar, just not doing much except for just getting really angry. For some reason,
there's something to that, and I don't know if you, I don't know how many Star Wars fans. There's a history.
I guess I'm the casual viewer, so I just did not get, I guess, what I was supposed to out of it.
Well, the Trandoshians.
I don't have a problem with it though.
No, it's cool because the Trandoshians are known to be Wookiee hunters. There was an episode of the Clone Wars.
Okay, so the Trandoshians kind of.
Chewbacca was actually in it, and they captured Chewbacca, and they're known for hunting Wookiees in packs, and they actually kill them, and they take their fur and all that kind of thing. So it gets really
Krrsantan is just kind of sitting there stewing and watching them. They're winning and they're laughing and
he goes ballistic. Yeah, he's not a fan of and that's So that was a great scene.
You see those knuckle dusters get electrified again, and something's happening. It's just, oh man, he just. I like the Trandoshians as characters. I was kind of like, oh, they're having a good time. They're winning. They're enjoying. And then he just walks over, just starts waylaying people. I mean, just
that's right.
Really cold cocking these guys and knocking them all over the place. And then the last one,
well, that's they're Bosk, the bounty hunter. Yeah, that's his race as well. And I was hoping he would show up. Perhaps maybe he will. I don't know,
to come and he's got a score now.
Yeah.
And then it was a nice, kind of one of the scenes I think we had seen in all the trailers was the round table, as it were, with all the crime families.
Yeah, the Godfather
where
scene.
finally we get to see that meeting of the minds and Fett trying to bring everybody together.
Yeah.
And I guess that scene probably didn't work out the way we thought it would. Like, just when you see the snippets of it, you think, oh, they're all gonna do everything. But he makes that appeal to all these families to like, hey, we got to stick together on this. This is
easy. Sort of, they seemingly agree, but that's not really what they're, that's not really what's happening. It's just, it's an uneasy kind of thing. Everybody is an interest, and this is what's intriguing. I love the fact that everybody has their own interests, and that they, they don't see the Pikes as a threat. Fett knows better.
It's not my problem. Like
That's
right now, that's what their attitude is. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
So why am I going to get involved in this? And the other, what was it? Was it the Trandoshans or whatever? Like, oh, we make money selling spice. Like we're, like they're like, we're not going to mess that up.
Right.
Exactly. But the Pikes might be coming to take that away from them. So
yeah, they're going to, it's seemingly obvious that they're taking over all of Tatooine in that sense. I think they're going to just control every interest and for some reason, and I'm still waiting for that other party that I'm convinced that there's somebody else behind it, somebody significant, but I don't know.
Well, going back to, I mean, tying that back to, I have a question for you about that, because when Boba Fett is explaining about the Tuskens and, I tried to be good and I tried to help them or whatever, and they were massacred by, the Niktos. And she's like, they killed, they killed it. She didn't seem to believe it. So do you think that his revenge was justified? Because as much as I loved seeing that scene, because it was just really cool, she kind of planted the seed. And I felt that earlier either. I'm like, I don't think this was a big enough or organized enough gang to take on the Tuskens. And she kind of put my question or concern out there.
Maybe it wasn't. What do you think? It could be,
he just killed a lot of people for nothing.
Well, not necessarily for nothing. I mean, they were terrorizing homesteads and things like that. So, I mean, that could have, that him being with the Tuskens at that point, he learned, don't be bullying people either. It's like not, you know what I mean? Like it's not, so whether they were working alone or in tandem with somebody bigger, I think they were probably hired to do these little dirty jobs along the way. So
if they were employed by someone to do this or part of it, then absolutely it makes sense for him to do what he did.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, he did earn the respect and the approval of Fennec anyway. So she kind of looked at him and just gave the nod.
Yeah, because he looked like, is this, they do the right thing? And she nodded anyway. She's like, yeah, kill them all. So like, whatever. She's into it. She's like, whatever you want to do, like wherever you want to go, I'm with you. So that kind of was pretty interesting. You get to see a little bit more of their relationship develop as well, how he saved her and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of dug. Overall, this was probably the strongest episode yet. Easily.
I think so. Yeah.
Easily.
A lot of information, a lot of all the right information.
Yeah.
Even when she says, like, and when they're sitting there and when, you finally find out exactly why he's doing this. And she says to him, she goes, being with the Tuskens made you soft.
Yeah.
That was cool. I mean, that's a great line because everybody felt that way up to this point. All the fans are thinking this, so it's to have a character actually acknowledge it.
Yeah. Yeah. The interesting thing is he said it made me strong because he changed as a person.
Yeah.
And I liked that kind of kept on coming out is, why are we why am I putting myself for them? And he said, and then I think the big line was, you can only go so long without a tribe.
Yeah.
So that was what I wanted. I wanted to find out what the motivator was. If you gave me all that in the beginning, I would have been so much more invested in his story that, he's searching for something, or I guess maybe he learned it. So we're not learning it until he learned it.
Right. And then we wouldn't have had a problem really going back and seeing how this all came to be, which, maybe could have spent
someone's going to recut this whole thing into chronological order. Honestly, someone will do it on YouTube and it'll probably be honestly, it'll be a much more compelling watch. So,
right.
Let's move to the hits and the misses. And, I'll tell you, I got more hits than misses for once.
Yeah, me too.
So go ahead.
The MVP for me of this episode was Jennifer Beals. Her monologue in the cantina, trying to talk Krrsantan out of like ripping the Trandoshan's arms off.
How'd that work out?
That was so well done. She was so delightful. That was such delightfully delivered monologue. It was so great. And she was so good in that moment, and then obviously it didn't work out, but she's got her own interests too, right? She's, whatever. So I loved her in that scene. I thought that was a great scene. Every scene with Boba's ship, You know, when he gets it back, that to me was like, that's part of the, that
The
getting
missing
the armor
piece.
back. It's the missing
Yeah.
piece. That's a big part of who he is and who his father was. And then of course the meeting of the families. I thought that was a great scene as well. Compelling. It worked. It's a little bit Godfathery, but it was like, and even Boba himself, some of the delivery, almost feel like he was almost maybe challenging Brando a little bit. Like he's got the voice, but it was good.
I got a little Untouchables out of it as well.
Right.
The
And
scene
then
with
for
De Niro.
me, of course, the biggest thing for me, is every time when he sees the flares show up,
Yeah,
listen to the music cue
it's The Mandalorian.
in that moment. And then of course at the end, when she says that, their credits can buy, then you hear Mando's theme
Yeah, you hear
again,
that.
which suggests that we might get a
Maybe
visit from Mando, to help
there
them.
you go. Nice.
So there you go. So
Nice.
those are my hits. Yeah.
My hits, very interesting. I really like that mapping droid that got sent out
Yeah.
and gave the whole, came back and they were able to look at the whole layout. I thought that was kind of neat. They could see where everybody was and figure out what they wanted to do. Love the mapping droid. The attack, like we said, the attack on the Nikto bikers, just really something we were looking to see.
Mhm.
Finally, some action. So I think everybody was kind of salivating for something. And wow, you could just watch that scene over and over. And when you see that ship in the background just coming, it's
Yeah.
you see the ship coming and you know what's coming after.
She's
it.
a
And
formidable ship. She always was that
just
ship.
laid
I love
waste to
that
the
ship.
bikers.
Yeah.
I mean, they had no
Yeah.
shot at it, which was great. And then of course, Krrsantan's roid rage.
Yeah.
Whether or not you know the backstory, he's just sitting there stewing,
Mhm.
and then he just goes off, and it just shows his the unpredictable nature of him, I suppose,
Yeah.
which was kind of neat, which I really like. So, what about your misses? What do you got?
So they're just, you know what? These are more nitpicks, I think, really, than misses. Honestly, I don't really think there's anything major that I found wrong with this episode. But my misses are, I'm still not sure about the mod stuff. It's a little odd to me. This place in the middle of nowhere. It's like a tattoo parlor. These kids are coming to get this stuff done, and I'm warming up to it. It's now it's known as they are officially known as mods.
Yeah,
which is, I guess, kind of cool.
Double entendre or double meaning.
You're gonna do it. Modification mod. Like, hey, why not? Okay,
Go in.
Fennec surgery. Not a drop of blood anywhere. I thought that was a little,
especially the dusty sands of.
Yeah, and then of course when they show her face, that was obviously a dummy of some sort. I don't think that was her. It was, you could tell it was like a animatronic or whatever. I don't know. It didn't look like it looked a little too phony for my taste. But the guy's hair kind of bothered me. His yarn type hair. I whatever. Again, going back to that discussion they had around the campfire. While we find out the reasons for his life choices, I found some of the dialogue by him was a little bit clumsy in that scene. He kept saying idiot. I think these idiots or whatever are a little too. I don't know. It's again a very slight nitpick. It was just the dialogue there felt a little clumsy to me. Yeah,
mine are going to be quick. The first one, Chef Grievous. That whole scene should not have did not need to be in the episode whatsoever. There was no reason for it. Obviously a callback to him as soon as he's spinning all the knives.
Of course,
there was nothing. No information was gained in that scene. They never got found. Right? They caught the rat catcher droid, and it just shut itself off, and the scene ended. So it was a waste. Yeah. Could have done something else with that. Okay. And then my other one,
the little rat catcher droid though, because he was
cute, but
he's cute. Yeah,
it didn't serve any purpose. Nothing happened in that part. Right. And then finally, Shand, her speech at the end about Bib Fortuna to the family, she's like, "Oh, nobody was able to kill him until Boba Fett came." Boba Fett walked into the palace and just shot him and pulled his body off the throne and sat there like no one else could have done that. That kind of like. He literally walked into the palace and assassinated him. No one else could have done that. So that for me was a little sloppy writing, but that was it. That was all I had. Like I said, overall kind of a solid episode. I wasn't looking for the stuff because it was delivering. So I wasn't looking to pick anything.
Right.
Because I was engaged in getting information.
That's right.
And learning about the story. So those things start to diminish and you start to not think about them because you're waiting to the next thing.
My response to that would be maybe it just shows you perhaps the strength of all these other, like that shows you how weak these families are, that they wouldn't have even tried or didn't want to. And that's why, and to Boba's point about him, all these people being idiots, like they're somebody strong needs to come in and take over. We just need to do it.
They were just happy with what they had. So,
right.
All right, that's going to lead us to episode grade. So what are you giving this episode?
I'm going to give it an A. I'm going to give it a solid A.
Wow.
I just felt it deserved it. I think we're finally on track here. I'm excited about the next episode.
Good.
Let's go, So
I did a last minute revision on mine, and it went from a B+ to an A-.
Okay.
Because I do have to take into consideration that the other episodes were kind of Bs.
Yeah.
So, and this was a step up. So I did need to increase the grade. I was going to give it a B+, but I'm like, nah, it actually delivered more. So I think it's an A-. So it's overall a solid thing. Unfortunately, it took 4 episodes to kind of get us there, but now I think our feet are firmly on the path of resolving the future or the now story, hopefully, that we're going to get to see the rest of this play out and see what happens. And if they deliver on this wow big bang that they're supposed to give us.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So that's going to do it. Yeah. That's going to do it for this episode of our recap of episode 4 of the Book of Boba Fett. Join us each Monday for another recap of the 7-episode Disney Plus series, The Book of Boba Fett. You can find us on social media, Facebook and Instagram at 3324 Podcast. So join us there, won't you? Give us your feedback about the episodes. We do have some vibrant conversation there as well. So for Erik, this has been Dean, and we will see you on the next recap. Episode 5 coming in a week. Take care.
You've been listening to the 3324 Podcast with Dean Legiro and Erik Kuber. You can find us on your favorite podcast provider, so please like, subscribe, and rate to become a part of the 3324 family. Your feedback is important, so make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at 3324 Podcast and on Twitter at 3324P to join the conversation.